She's April.
And she's Molly.
And we are
the Book Besties. And now it's time for Rants with Molly.
Fuck, they can't take a joke.
And Evie's dad was a cheating bastard.
I'll put it in the notes. Fuck it.
Don't give up on us completely.
Shovel buddy.
And then you have your dog and your nachos or whatever.
Smelly cat, smelly cat.
I'm gonna need you to ring a bell right now.
The word of the day, kids, is cliche.
Molly wants the business. That's it.
Then I go, Zoltan!
Hi!
Hi! So I'm still sick.
I hear that.
Henceforth, the man cough.
It's like Phoebe. You need to I'm so
smelly
sick.
Cat, smelly cat.
So if you're watching us on YouTube, you will notice that this is not a pink wall behind me because I am filming on location today.
We just celebrated Thanksgiving.
Correct.
Henceforth, the way I sound.
And I went to Florida to visit my in-laws. And so I've been here this whole week. And because I love you, Molly, and I love our podcast, and I love our fans, I am filming while I am away from home. But I don't have my bells. So if you could help me out with that,
no problem.
I feel like I'm letting Nurse Katie down by not having my bell with me. But
I do have a request from Piper.
Okay.
So she asked if we were going to cover Percy Jackson, the series, and I told her probably not. I'm not a big fan of the series.
I love mythology, so I wouldn't mind doing it, but it's a long series.
That's a really long series, and she requested that I give out this PSA.
Okay.
The movies are garbage. Read the books.
Okay, Piper, you have been heard.
She needs me to make sure that everybody comprehends this.
Okay.
The books are spectacular. The movies are garbage.
I mean, that's usually the case with most series, right?
Yeah.
The Divergent books were, the first Divergent book was really good. The rest of the series was but I did like the way it ended. But the movies were garbage.
Right.
So.
Right. But if a 12-year-old says so, it must be, in stone.
That is law.
Exactly. Because the tween said so.
Right. How was your Thanksgiving?
Good, quiet. It was just us and Sister Beth and my kiddos, but I'm fighting this sinus cold. You guys had a good time, right?
Yeah. So it's usually just the four of us because we never have lived close to family. So when we lived in Houston, we used to have everybody to our house.
Right.
Well, I guess we had a Christmas that year that was Liv's first birthday. It was first Christmas.
First Christmas,
right?
Yeah.
She was a little peanut and a month old at that point or something.
Almost 2, yeah.
She was so tiny.
She still is.
Her first Christmas, I know, she is. So her first Christmas we had at my house, but we haven't really done anything else other than just, the four of us. So our school district changed our calendar and gave us a whole week off. And I said, let's go see your parents. So we rented a little house and I made dinner for everybody and it was good and it was great. And so now everybody's out looking at Christmas lights so I can record our pod.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. So I guess we should
dive into this book. This book. This book. I'm just gonna now.
So we're talking about Instructions for Dancing by Nicola Yoon. This cover is just gorgeous.
It's gorgeous.
Gorgeous cover. So Instructions for Dancing by Nicola Yoon. So this book actually came out this year. We haven't done a book that was this current. We've never done anything from this year yet. And so that was a first. I picked this book because I love Nicola Yoon. Her first two books, Everything, Everything, and The Sun Is Also a Star, they make my best of lists. They're of my favorites.
Really?
I really love them. I love her writing style. I love the tragedy and the romance, and I love all of it. This is not a good introduction to Nicola Yoon.
This book is full of romance cliches.
Yeah.
It felt like a first-time writer's book.
I agree with that.
I never, like, and at the end, she does this whole, like, in the audiobook, it's read by the narrator of the audiobook. But
is it the author's note?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like an explanation about the book, and it just felt
right. So I feel like her other two books have a lot of the cliche pitfalls of romantic books in them. But I didn't mind it from the other two. This one, it did not feel.
It feels fresh. Forced, right?
Right. Yeah. It was not. It was not my favorite. But before we get into that, let me give a summary, synopsis, if you will. So Evie used to love romance books. She knows all the subgenres and the acronyms, but that was before her dad had an affair on her mom and broke up their family. Now Evie is giving up on romance books and the thought of love. While adding her books to a neighborhood little free library, she encounters a strange woman who serves the role of a fairy godmother who gifts Evie with the ability to see relationships from their beginning, middle, and end. When Evie witnesses a couple kiss. After seeing several couples end, she decides she was right to give up on love. Enter X, a hot musician who becomes her dance partner for an upcoming LA ballroom dance contest that will benefit X's grandparents' dance studio. Even though Evie fears there will be an end to their relationship with X, she finds herself falling for him. And there's a lot of dancing.
A lot of dancing.
It's a lot of dancing. So yeah.
Let's get into it, I guess.
Let's get into my questions. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I really had a hard time writing questions for this book because I was like, I mean, I didn't really like it. Like I gave it a 3 on Goodreads. But really,
I mean, that's about. I would give it a 2.5, 3.
Yeah, 2.5. They don't have 3. They don't have halves on Goodreads, but to me, it's a 2.5.
Yeah. So we're rounding up.
Yeah, I was rounding up. I'm being generous.
At least one of us is.
But I mean, it was difficult to write questions because there's no depth to this book. Like, there's no substance.
It is so single layered.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, the cliches and the pitfalls of common writing start early. I mean, she places it in. She puts it in LA. I mean,
well, she's from LA. Well, she lives in LA. She's not from there, but she lives in LA. So I guess we could kind of forgive her of that. Like, she's writing about where she lives.
It feels cliche. It's like writing about New York City, a fresh young face in New York City who's just trying to find her way and find love.
Molly, hold that thought for we've got coming in December, because fuck the book we're going to talk about in December. But yes, I agree with you. Like, there's no like freshness to it. It's really stale. And even for like a YA book that does usually have more cliches, you know, and like, especially in the romance, like, this is even worse. Like, it's worse.
Right.
Okay. So I guess I'm just going to jump in.
Let's do it.
So if you were given the ability to see a relationship from start to finish, would you view it as a curse or a gift? Evie considers it a curse, but the fairy godmother type character considers it a gift. But what do you think?
I think it's a gift. I like knowing shit about people. I'm nosy.
Oh my gosh, Mom.
Period. So being able to know something about someone that they don't know would be kind of fun.
That's Molly wants the business. That's it.
I mean, I'm in a different headspace than Evie. Period. Right? Like,
yeah, right. Well, I mean, I guess because we're already in that, you know, love space. You know, we've both been married for a long time. How long have you and Matt been married?
This year, May will be 15 years.
Okay, so for us, June will be 12.
Yeah.
So
a good long
we've
while.
Been married for a long time. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess like with her, okay, I'm sorry, I cut you off.
That's fine. But even like, I don't know, even single pre-Matt, like, I'm callous about relationships, I guess is the best way to say it. Like,
it's trauma.
I'm just prepared for the worst. I've always been prepared for the worst. It's part of my upbringing. I just wait. I'm always waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Molly, that's called anxiety.
Also ADHD.
Right.
I don't know. I also am super fucking nosy. Like,
I don't think I would like it. I would definitely consider it to be a curse because of my anxiety. I would feel like it would make me feel more worried about my relationship. I feel pretty damn secure in my relationship. And, I have to say that because he's going to edit our pod for us.
I, on the other hand.
No, but seriously, I mean, I feel very secure in our relationship. And even like the one couple in the book, X's grandparents, who are like super in love and have been married for what, like 60 years or something at this point?
Yeah, like grossly in love. It's nasty. Yeah.
Like they're still like really cute and they're like older. Like even they have an ending. I mean, it ends with them both dying together. Very cliche.
I mean,
like,
all relationships end, right?
Right.
Like one
They're
way
going
or
to end
another.
at some point. Right. Exactly. But I don't think I would want to know. Like, I don't want to know. And I don't really care about people enough to want to know their business.
So if I knew things you don't want me to tell you is what you're saying?
Molly, you would tell me anyway.
That's fucking facts.
Let's be honest.
I mean, I do tell you. I tell you everything.
I literally could just be like, why did you tell me that? And you'd be like, because you're my best friend, and that's what we do.
And you don't come to me unless you want honesty. Let's not lie. We don't go to Molly Biggs unless we want fucking honesty. It's
a good point. It's a good point.
You want your hand held? You're gonna have to go to another person because I am not that friend.
You come to me for that. You come to me for that. I hold your hand.
I will tell you. I will try to be gentle, but we all know at the very end,
yeah,
that ain't gonna happen.
That's true.
I'm not sorry.
It really is amazing that we are such good friends
because we balance each other out.
Yeah,
we balance each other out.
That's true. That's what it is. It's the balance.
Yeah.
All right. So if you knew when and how your relationship would end, would you still go into it?
Yeah. I'm a big fan of Matthew Biggs. I like him.
Well, I guess I don't think I meant like necessarily Matt, but yes, like a relationship.
I mean, I've been through an array of different kinds of relationships in my life.
Right.
I had a high school sweetheart. Our relationship ended after he graduated, and we still talk now. We text each other on each other's birthdays. We're still,
that's weird, Molly.
Like I think
I don't even want to know my ex-boyfriends exist still. Like they don't need to exist.
I'm out of my major relationships.
Mm-hmm.
I am friends with all but two.
Okay, well, here's another difference between us because I, besides Tom, only have 3 other relationships.
Yeah, I know. I know what it sounds like. But what I'm saying is let me try to phrase this differently. I see people grow and change together. That's how your marriage is held up. That's how my marriage is held up.
Right.
And sometimes people grow apart and you become different people.
Well, and you and Matt got married younger than Tom and I too, because you were in like your early 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was in my late 20s. So like that's a different, I mean, you're still in your 20s, so that's a totally different place in your life.
Truth.
I would, using Tom as the example, I would definitely have still entered the relationship because like I anticipate that one day my relationship with him will end in one of us dying.
Right.
Like, I mean, that's what I went into when I married him, right? Till death do us part. So that is what I envision. Now, if something was going to go awry and like that wasn't going to be the case, I don't think I would have wanted to know. Because it's like what Evie says in the book when she says that she wouldn't want to know how she dies, or she would want to know how she dies, but X is like, no. Evie's like, I want to be prepared. And X is like, no, I would be just anxious all the time.
Right.
I'd be waiting for the other shoe to drop. And that's how I would be. So I wouldn't want to know.
Right. Well, we have a rule here in the Biggs house. It is death do us part, but I get to die
first.
Be
murder.
No. I get to go first. I don't have the emotional wherewithal to live post Matt. We are we are two. It is two. We are two little algae that have grown attached to each other, and I think if we just, I don't know, we're codependent to a fault. I think sometimes.
Well, I tell Tom that I want to die first too, but you know, I think I think if I died first, he'd probably live a very lonely existence because he's not a social creature. Like I make him
The
socialize.
boys will make sure he's fine.
Will they?
Sammy will. He's a good boy.
There you go. There you go. Sammy will, not James.
I mean, James will loves his father very much. Don't get it twisted.
No, he does. He does.
It's just the social cues of that situation may not be.
They're not going to help each other in that department. Let's just say that.
I promise I will help the boys comprehend and process the process.
Oh, okay. So what you just decided is not only do you get to die first in your marriage, but I get to die first in our partnership. So,
okay,
fine. Fantastic, Molly. Fantastic.
I'm just saying, if you go first, let me say that. If you go first, I will make sure things are squared away.
Yeah,
I won't leave them struggling.
Well,
you know very well that
Tom used to have a plan that he was going to move to a log cabin in Montana, and he was going to eat chips and cheese like every day. And he was just going to be there with his dog. And this was like before Sam was even born. And I was like, so wait a minute. Not only do you outlive me, you skip town without our son, and our dog outlives me. So it's just shitty all around. It's just shitty all around.
I have one of those dogs. Fucking Rocco's still kicking, ain't he?
Man, he is old.
Dude, so old. We are so off topic. Oh my God.
Well, Molly, I mean, it wouldn't be a Book Besties episode if we didn't go off the rails.
Yes, Rocco is old. He actually turned 17 this year.
Aww, that's so cute.
Papillon's lived to 20.
I don't know what that is. That's
the type of dog he is.
Oh, all right. All right, so what are your thoughts on Evie's dad and his affair?
Okay, we're going to have a book fight here.
Oh, are we?
We are. I know how you feel about affair.
We were on the same page with this. So.
I mean, I don't condone cheating.
Right.
I don't. But you sometimes cannot help who you fall in love with.
No.
Yes.
No.
Love happens.
Immediately no.
Here, I'll do it for you. All I'm saying is love happens. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's supposed to happen that way. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm saying it happens. No. I'm saying it's a part of the human condition that our heart sometimes wants things we shouldn't have.
No. Love does not happen that instantaneously. Lust happens that instantaneously.
But lust turns into love.
I mean, for some people it does, but like, I think it's absolutely absurd to say that love just happens. If you are in love with somebody else, then you are in love with them. It's not an in and out thing. I know I'm the minority of this, but Tom is the only person I've ever been in love with.
That's wonderful. That makes my heart so happy for you.
So I don't understand this whole going off and just falling in love with someone else nonsense. That's nonsense to me. And it's worse to me. Like, I texted you this, but like, I strongly feel this way. When a marriage ends because of an affair, it is not the death of a family. It's a murder. Somebody murdered that family. And as the daughter of somebody, my parents were never right for each other. I mean, they were complete chaos, and it was a terrible marriage anyway. But the reason they finally split up was because of my stepmom. Like, they had an affair. And then they got married like a year later. I mean, they've been married for like 30 years at this point. Like, their relationship is very good. But if I would have understood what happened as a kid, there's no way I would have been the person to attend their wedding. There's no way I would have I just accepted her because she killed our family. Now, ultimately, our family was not in a good place. But that doesn't sound like it's the case of this book. No. Like, it really sounds like Evie's parents were in love and Evie's dad was a cheating bastard.
But, okay, the mom very much said, Evie's mom told her, she's like, your father offered to go to counseling. I said no. She chose to let that marriage die. She chose to let that situation kill their marriage. That was a two-parter.
It could be a little bit pride on her part. Not everybody can bounce back after an affair. Like, I mean, I understand that. I think I would still try counseling, but like, I don't know how you come back after that. You know what I mean? And especially because of how I feel about Tom, like that's the only relationship I have that I've like loved somebody, you know? So, I don't know how you bounce back after that. I don't.
People grow apart. It happens.
But if you grow apart, then you say that to each other. You know what? We are not in that headspace anymore. We've grown apart. We're living separate lives. Let's get a divorce or go to counseling, one or the other.
Right.
You don't go and bang somebody else. Like, it's just not acceptable to me. It's not acceptable to me.
It happens. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying it happens.
And like,
it's human condition. It happens.
I don't like reading books that have affairs in them. And so that's one of the reasons why I gravitate towards a YA, because there usually isn't that. But like, you know, this was a parents doing it. But
I mean, and the parents do it. I mean, that's real life, you know? Kids watch their parents have affairs. They see the divorce, you know, the family fall apart.
I don't want it to be real life, though.
It's not going to be for you.
I mean, I hope not.
No, it won't. Because Tom will just go missing.
What the? Oh. Gotcha. I'm like, where's he going? Oh, right.
Shovel buddy.
Right. Well, I mean,
I can't laugh too hard. I'll start a coughing fit.
I really had an issue with her dad being so insistent that she come to the wedding, and then like the bridal shower.
It's like, he was more concerned with his feelings and his new wife's feelings than how his daughter was feeling.
I don't necessarily
was more concerned with their feelings than her feelings.
I don't think he was necessarily concerned with Sheila's feelings, the stepmom. I think he was concerned with how he felt. But here's what I thought the entire time. He wants her to come so that she is essentially saying what you did is okay.
Right.
And it's not okay.
Right. And like not letting her tell the sister.
Oh my gosh, sorry. That was horrible.
My little sister and I back then told each other everything. Mm-hmm. There was no secrets between Jesse and I back in the day. Like,
well, I mean, my brothers are significantly younger than me, so like that would have been, you know, but
right. But if Jesse would have caught Bill cheating on mom back in the day when we were little, you don't think I would have been the first stop?
Right. I think that wasn't fair because that made her live with it.
Right.
And no one else wanted to live with it. Like, everyone else wanted to ignore it. And that's why, like, that bride
moved on. It wasn't a big deal.
Right.
It's just sitting on her shoulders. It's bullshit.
I don't get how Danica didn't figure it out. Because, like, I mean, she
Danica's
does ask
self-absorbed.
She's like, people fall out of love all the time. But, like, your dad is literally marrying somebody shortly after splitting with your mom. Like, it doesn't happen that quickly.
The math don't add up. That's for sure.
Right. Like, maybe at her age, people jump around like that. But no, that's not. No. Mm-hmm. You don't get out of the marriage and right into another one if it wasn't.
Since we're talking about the bridal shower, can I mention what happens in the audiobook? Because
please do it.
So in chapter 42, when they go to the bridal shower, the audiobook narrator is reading from our main character's point of view. Mm-hmm. And as she's starting to become overwhelmed by these feelings, the audiobook narrator starts choking up like a real person who is telling you this story would. It's powerful. Right. And when she runs to the bathroom and starts crying, the narrator's crying, and it makes you cry. Like you were sitting if you get a chance, this book is worth listening to on audiobook,
or at least that chapter.
That chapter because it is just my heart still hurts. It hit me hard. Like I struggled with this book a lot for different reasons, but like that whole scene and like it's just you really felt for her in that moment. You really felt everything. And that is kudos to the audio narrator.
Right.
Couldn't tell you who that is right now because
that's okay.
Shit together. I'll put it in the notes. Fuck it.
I really had a hard time with that scene because I don't understand how you can't feel shame over what you did if you're
Right.
Sheila. Like, how do you not have shame over this? And her mom's like praising her, and she had this hard life. Your daughter broke up a marriage. She broke up a family.
I'm wondering if they had no idea.
Well, I'm sure that they didn't, but also, like, how do you not know? Like
You gotta
first of
think the
all,
best of your children.
yeah.
It
I
sucks
mean, I'm
nonetheless.
telling you, I couldn't believe no one was like talking about her. Like
Right.
Evie's dad's sister who's sitting there, like Aunt whatever the fuck her name was. Why isn't she like,
Why the fuck is she like? How's your mom doing? Like, I would be
right,
like,
right.
I,
That whole thing would be so uncomfortable.
it's so awkward.
I mean, I think like
I'm
second.
awkward in general, so I don't know how I would have just started laughing because that's
I
what
mean,
I do in
a
uncomfortable
second
situations.
marriage could be awkward anyway, but
Right.
like especially one that was so quickly after a divorce. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I hated that whole scene. I hated it for Evie. It made me really sad. It made me angry. Like, I just don't understand how you don't feel shame that
Right.
you broke up a family.
For sure. For sure.
All right. So I guess we can change gears here.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that. Do you think Evie's mom is right to protect her girls from the truth of the divorce? I guess we kind of already answered that.
Yes and no. I feel like they're old enough to kind of know the truth. They're both in high school. They're mature enough to comprehend what cheating is. If they're mature enough to have romantic relationships, they're mature enough to understand what happened in your marriage. And honestly, I would be pissed if I found out later as an adult and like didn't have all the information then.
I mean, I can see where you're coming from, but I also hate it when parents go through a divorce and they pin the kids against the other parent.
Right.
And I think in a lot of ways her mom didn't want them to know because she didn't want them to hate her
Pick
dad.
sides, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I respect her for that. It might
Better
be a little
person than
bit
me.
of it might be a little bit of shame or embarrassment on her own part, like she got cheated on and
well, I mean, she's
that?
Jamaican. Yeah, I don't know culture. I don't know the Jamaican culture. I don't know what that entails, but maybe it's cultural. Maybe it's her upbringing.
Just as a woman, I don't think I would be okay with that.
Mm.
All right. So, what do you think about Evie's friend group? Let's talk about the friend group.
Martin
So we have Martin. He's a white boy, dresses like an English professor. Friends since elementary school. Sophie, super smart science girl, possibly bi. They never really define it, but she does date two girls in the book. Cassidy, super rich, parents gone a lot, lesbian. Those are her friends. The four of them, and they eat at the Waffle House, which is very Leslie Knope of them.
Yes. Martin is my favorite character in this whole book.
He's pretty great.
From the big reference to Zoltar, which automatically makes me go, here's the ADHD brain again. Zoltar. Then I go, Zoltan! From freaking, Dude, Where's My Car?
I just thought it was really, like, a great reference, except that it made me feel old because Evie didn't know what the hell he was talking about. And I was like, people don't know Big anymore? Like, what is this life?
I know. And then, like, I knew he was my favorite character when they're at X's show, and he's like, this is my first rock and roll show. Okay, Grandpa, calm down.
That honestly made me think of the episode of Parks and Rec where Leslie goes on a date, but she doesn't know she's on a date, and it's with an old man, and he's like, we could go to the rock and roll show. I like rock and roll shows. I was like, oh my gosh, Martin, you are an old man. He's even named like an old man. Like, come on.
I know.
He's pretty great. Honestly, he's the only of her friends that I liked. I couldn't really stand the other girls.
I don't know how it just doesn't feel like a natural, cohesive friend group.
It really doesn't. And, like, I get it. Like, they were all in the same study hall in middle school and they just sort of became friends. But, like, that friendship doesn't last. A friendship that started in your study hall, it doesn't last. They have nothing in common. Her and Martin, yeah.
will be friends for life.
Right. But, like, they have nothing. Yeah.
I think that friend group was destined to fall apart. Even if the
Oh,
girls
yeah.
didn't date. I feel
Right.
like
Right. They're all too different. They're all too different. Yeah, I really didn't like the girls. And, I mean, I can't fault them for dating each other. I mean, I dated guys that were in my friend group, and that was awkward when we split up. So, like, I get it. But I don't know. I just didn't really like them. I just didn't really like them.
I
I didn't like them. Sorry, go ahead.
It felt like they weren't good friends.
Right.
Right? I get your feelings are hurt that your friend doesn't like you guys dating, but she just went through, which you guys know, she just watched her parents go through a wicked divorce, and she is sitting here saying she's afraid this is going to ruin your friend group. She is telling you her fears, and you're taking it personally and attacking her and getting mad at her instead of being like, okay.
I mean, it was a little selfish of her. It was a little selfish of Evie, but I just didn't like them. I don't think they had anything in common. Like, why would they even date?
Yeah.
Because they are in the same
because they spend so much time together. I mean, you saw it in high school.
Yeah.
So
the thing about Martin I didn't like was his big crush on Danica. Like, I'm glad
it's a very cliche thing.
Yeah, well, no,
for the best friend to be in love with the sibling.
No, the cliche thing is for the best friend to be in love with the best friend.
Right.
Which I'm glad it didn't go that route, because I like her and Martin as friends and not as a relationship.
Right.
But I didn't like his whole crush on Danica. The way he talked about it, it just, like, I don't know. As a big sister, would you feel uncomfortable if your friend was like all talking about your little sister like that?
Well, the girls in this book are closer in age. They're like, what, a year apart, maybe?
I think 2 years.
My little sister and I are 4, almost 5 years apart.
Okay.
If my high school friends were talking about my middle school sister, they'd be on the ground. They'd be on the ground.
That's fair. That's fair.
Jessie was a child when they were 18.
Right.
Different boat. But I mean, if they were, if Jessie and I were 18 months, a year apart, go ahead. It's Jessie's life. She'll shoot you down. I know my sister. Good luck.
Nice. All right, so let's talk about X and Evie. Are they the OTP, the one true pairing?
I don't know. It feels... This whole book feels forced, man. Like, their relationship feels forced. It's just... Oh, a girl falls out of love with love, and then she magically meets a boy who is her perfect match.
I'm going to need you to ring a bell right now.
Fuck. Man, fuck.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
Like, there's some really cute moments. Like,
honestly, it's like a fucking Hallmark movie, right?
There's some cute moments, like when they're writing the song, or
also cliche,
right? Like,
how does she know about writing music?
She must know about writing. She's into books. Doesn't that mean
no?
Readers
not the same
reading,
thing,
right?
Not the same thing. And one of the lines, she changed it from what he had, and what he had was better. And I was like, what is this?
Fuck is wrong with you people?
Terrible.
I don't know.
I mean, X is like, he's hot, right? He's the hot rocker. He's like all indie and like smooth, and he's all carefree, and he says yes to everything because he's got trauma. I don't know.
I also have, so listening to this book, and they're talking about last names, and I have beef. Mm-hmm. His last name is Thomas. Her last name is Johnson. Mm-hmm. Couldn't we have picked any more of common last names in the God-blessed world?
Nicola Yoon! Your last name is Yoon! Why did you pick some common names?
Are we that lazy? Are we that fucking lazy?
I mean, honestly, that's part of the reason why it feels like a first-time author, because it's full of cliches, but it's also like these things, like you made the comment when we read An Absolutely Remarkable Thing that April May was like the filler name, right?
Right.
It just feels like those are filler names that you put a real name in later, right?
Nicola Yoon, I don't know you, babe. We're gonna go down the rabbit hole with Molly again.
And now it's time for Rants with Molly.
Miss Yoon. Ma'am. We know your writing's not this lazy. I don't know what the fuck's going on with this book. Babe. Just maybe. Just fucking maybe.
Yeah.
Have an editor next time. Take a breath.
She did. I mean, this is not somebody who is first time. It's not somebody who's fresh off the street. Like, she has 2 books that were so wildly popular, they were adopted into movies.
And also, friend, there's a little feature on your computer when you're writing. It's called Control F. It says find, and it'll find all the words that are the same,
and you can change them.
And you can fucking change them. So this wasn't a hard problem. Thank you, sincerely, your book bestie, Molly Biggs.
So, I mean, if we're looking at this through the lens of we don't mind cliched romance, X is the perfect boy for Evie. It's very Hallmark movie. Like,
it is a Hallmark movie.
You know from Jump that they're gonna fall in love with each other. She sees him riding her bike and it's over from there.
Right. Like, I get it. And that was it was an interesting meet cute. I will give her that. Their meet cute is him riding a stranger's bike, rude first and foremost.
And he moved the seat.
And 2, she overhears him breaking up with another girl or dealing with an ex-girlfriend. Weirdest meet cute I have read in a long time.
Yeah. I thought that was, cute. Their first kiss was cute. Like, it was awkward and like bumpy and like they kissed teeth and like.
But they also were drunk.
Yeah. But I freaking forgot what I was going to say. I don't know. He was just very cliche.
100%.
This is what I was going to say. I don't understand why she couldn't see their future when she kissed him the first time.
I think it was because she wasn't fully in love with him.
Well, I think that's the argument that Evie makes, but the author also, or I think that's the argument the author wanted to make, but Evie mentions that she's been in love with him the whole time. Like, she knows that really she loves him.
Maybe she just didn't admit it to herself or some shit,
Well, whatever. That's so cliche too. Thank you, Molly.
You're welcome.
And I kind of wasn't totally surprised. We're going to give away a spoiler here. I know this is a brand new book. It's not brand new. It's been out for a few months.
Okay. Fucking spoilers, y'all. Don't listen past this point if you want to read the damn book. Moving on.
Well, come back in like 5 minutes. Don't give up on us completely. So, the fact that he dies at the end, well, I mean, I guess we don't really see him die. We know he's going to die.
We're informed about it, yes.
Right. That wasn't surprising to me because I have read 2 other books by Nicola Yoon, and I just know, like, tragedy is, like, a part of them. Now, nobody dies in either of her other books. I should say that. But there's also not really happy endings. Like, it's, like, really, like...
melancholy?
It's like the murky ending. It's like, okay, potentially there's a happy ending, but also it's more realistic. Like, one of the reasons I love the book The Sun Is Also a Star is because it doesn't end in a cliche. It doesn't end in this, everything worked out perfectly and everything's great. Mm-hmm. And I'm disappointed that the movie actually changed it to be that way. Because I thought that was the brilliance of that book, that it didn't end perfectly.
I've seen the movie.
Yeah, well, I've never seen the movie ends differently than the book. But
good to know.
But him dying, that just seemed like, well, of course that's what's going to happen. Of course
it seems aggressive.
Die. Because that's the only way that their relationship can end, right?
I mean, if we're going to use the future, wouldn't we, like, I don't know.
Why doesn't she tell him?
Like, okay, hey,
Instead, she breaks up with him.
I thought you'd die.
Right.
I'm concerned for your well-being.
Right,
Let's go to the doctors. Get a fucking checkup, huh?
Right. Instead, she, like, breaks up with him so that he won't go to New York City, because if he doesn't go to New York City, maybe he won't die. And maybe she won't have to deal with the heartache. But come on. Like, Thank you. I mean, this guy is like real hippy dippy anyway. If she told him that she's been having these visions,
He'd
and
be like, cool, tell me more.
Right. He says yes to everything. He seizes the day for everything. So all she really needed to do was be like, bro, go get your heart checked, man.
That band is fucking cursed.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I need to know, do the rest of the bandmates die young? Like,
who knows? Maybe they'll give up on the band after that. I don't know. I don't know.
Away.
But
go to Alaska, buy a cabin, and just be alone.
Going to Alaska is also a great way to die. Like, a lot of people die going to Alaska. It's not a good choice. You go somewhere like where there's like no traffic and no people. You go to Wyoming or Montana. And then you have your dog and your nachos or whatever. Whatever the fuck.
Okay. We hear you.
You've been seen, husband. So, all right. So, I don't know. I just think, like, she should have told him. I don't know. It just feels weird, you know?
I don't know.
It's a bad choice.
This is the first book I have truly disliked since we've started this pod.
It is not the first book that I have truly disliked since we started this pod. But it's a close second.
I mean, you do hate without a doubt Emily Giffen's Something Borrowed. So,
well, I wasn't even thinking of that. I was thinking of Discovery of Witches, but I know that you love that. So I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You didn't like To Kill a Mockingbird, so
I love it for you.
I love Discovery of Witches for you.
See?
By the way, I went to Barnes & Noble today, and Discovery of Witches is on the trending on Book Talk table.
I was
surprised that because I haven't either. I'm not on TikTok.
I gotta go fucking look for it.
I'm not on TikTok. I mean, our pod is on TikTok. Go follow us, Book Besties Pod on TikTok. But I spend more time on Instagram, which go follow us there too because I post videos and it's all fun to watch April be super extroverted.
For sure. For sure.
But I haven't seen Discovery of Witches on there, and so I was surprised. But
the show's doing really well on AMC, and I think that's how the book for the first book got such good traction. It's getting a second life. It's good. It's great for Deb. I'm happy for her.
Well, Dune is getting a second life, but that's still terrible.
That book is fucking.
I don't have any desire to read it. Like, and my husband, who reads fantasy exclusively, was like, "Yeah, don't waste your time." So I was like, "Cool." I didn't want to anyway.
I have started and stopped that book 6 times since middle school.
I think, didn't Nurse Katie ask us if we read it?
Yeah.
And we were both like, no, fuck that. No. Don't bother.
I can't make it past the 3rd chapter before I go, fuck this shit. And
But I feel like I need to put our disclaimer. If it's your favorite book, just because we don't like it, we love reading. We support reading of all kinds of reading. I'm going to judge you for your reading, but also encourage you to do it.
Right. And we will be more than happy to talk to you about it.
Yeah, 100%. I'll talk to you about it.
We just don't fucking read it ourselves. So.
All right, let's get back on topic here. So I've got a couple more questions, but one is about Fifi. So
I love her.
We haven't even really talked about the dancing of this, which is also very cliche.
Which is a major part of this book.
Right. So basically, the whole reason she's at the dance studio is because she ends up taking from the Little Free Library the book Instructions for Dancing that says return to whatever the hell the dance studio is called. And Martin, who's the only person that knows about her powers, tells her she has to go.
Logical Martin.
He's like, that's your next step. Let's go. Let's do it. But with no dance experience whatsoever, Fifi and X's grandparents decide that she's the perfect candidate to enter a citywide competition for amateur dancers to win notoriety for their dance studio. Because that makes sense. Like, the competition
totally adds up.
The competition that's like their major competition, I'm just thinking to myself, those people have been practicing for years. Like, they're not like Evie, who just started dance like a minute ago. Like, what the hell? But Fifi was complete comic relief for me.
She was. I
was kind of wondering what you thought about her.
I liked her. I thought it was, a Russian a Russian dance instructor is not
That is so
like
fucking cliche.
like it is not groundbreaking,
She
right?
has to have an accent and she has to say words differently. Of course she does.
But it's a great character. It's well
Yeah.
written. She's funny. It is
I think
great.
she was the most rounded character too.
I don't know. I like Martin.
But Martin maintains the cliche male best friend.
That is true.
Where Fifi kind of gets to let her hair down and be a little wild and say things like, you have no hips and be sexy.
Yeah.
And
Well,
this dance is sex on heels and things like that.
Martin's the guy that picks up a choose your own adventure book, flips to the end, and goes back to front to figure out how to finish the book properly.
How do I beat the book?
Right.
Yeah.
No offense, Martin, to the Martins out there, but this is exactly who you are, and you know it.
It's fine.
It's fine.
All right. So, did you feel like the fantasy element of this book worked? Like the
I will say it was a different aspect to taking on the YA romance.
mm-hmm.
But I mean, being able to see the future is, I mean, we've been Freaky Friday'd our heads off, right?
I kept thinking about That's So Raven.
It just feels cliche. The word of the day, kids, is cliche.
Yeah. Like, please ring a bell for me here. Nicola Yoon.
Oh boy.
I love your books, your other two books. They're so good. Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. Realistic fiction is your jam. Stay there. Fantasy, not for you. Not for you. Stay in your lane. We're never going to get authors to come on here if we talk about them like this.
No, you know what? You're going to come and join our pod because we're honest. Not everybody wants a glowing review. Some people need honest feedback, and there's okay with honest feedback.
Yeah. I don't know if we need to be this honest, though. All right, so
fuck them. They can't take a joke.
This is my last question, and I know we still have like 13 minutes to spare. Mm-hmm. How the fuck did we do that? But will you read Nicola Yoon again?
I don't know. Another chance? Yeah. This is my first. All
right, so now I have to just put one of the books on the pod list and make you read it.
I don't think you're going to get me to read it unless you force me to, honestly.
I have to prove to you that she's better than this. Like, I have to prove it. I'm really unhappy with this book.
Sun is also a star. I enjoyed the movie.
Everything is also really good. The Sun is also a star. I rated higher on Goodreads, so maybe we'll do that one. But Molly, we have like books picked out until September for next year.
I just added two.
We have books until September picked out. Like I've actually added 2 books to September. I wasn't sure if we were going to do Banned Books Month again, like we did this year.
I think it's a good idea.
So I just put 2 banned books on there just in case. But
good for notifications.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so I guess I have another question, but I mean, I feel like the answer is going to be a lot. Is there anything you would change about this book?
Yes.
A lot?
Okay, major factoring being, I feel like the story went really fast as a writer. Things, especially when you're working with this kind of fantasy, where it's realistic fantasy, where you're doing like mind control and all this bullshit, you drag it out, right? The goal is to have the character struggle with it first.
Right.
She didn't even struggle with it. She went straight to fucking Martin. She then, she didn't even fight what Martin said, which most main characters would be like, no, fuck that shit. I'm going to pretend and hope it goes away kind of thing. And then eventually go, like, I just feel like there's room for improvement in the fantasy element of this.
Right.
And
as we are both avid readers of fantasy,
I mean, I'm not a published author, so I can go fuck myself for all Nicola Yoon knows.
Yeah, but right now you're a professional podcaster.
And a semi-pro writer if I have the time.
And by professional podcaster, I mean that someday somebody will pay us for this, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
I'll give you a penny. That'll make you professional.
And until then, we'll keep saying not sponsored.
Hashtag not sponsored.
Hashtag not sponsored. We're both avid readers of fantasy, and so like it's just hard for me to like. She just didn't do it well. She didn't do it well. I think she was trying to do. I think she was trying to do like a fairy tale, and I think like you mentioned the author's note earlier in the pod, but like she was dealing with the death of two people, two loved ones when she wrote this. And so I think she was looking for fantasy. I think she was looking to be taken out of reality, and I can respect that. But she didn't do it well.
I feel like she did not do enough reading of other people's fantasy, because there's plenty of romance fantasy out there. And Bodice Ripper romance fantasy.
Oh no. I mean, you can get that from The Selection, for example. I know that's dystopian, but it's also like fantasy romance as well.
But I mean, even things in this lane, like with the mind reading and the power control or whatever, there is just see what's out there before you just dive into it. Kind of.
Right. And one of the lines from the author's note was that she feels like she was proud of it and she had to defend it. And like that, to me, that's your red flag. The fact that your publisher was like, maybe not.
Yeah,
that should tell you something. Like,
right. I don't know.
It wasn't for you, boo-boo.
I will say there was one line that truly stuck out to me in this
book.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same one that I liked.
It's the end of chapter 54. It is, the problem with broken hearts isn't that they kill you, it's that they don't. Mm-hmm. Now that hits right in the soul. There's a lot of great things about this book. Right. I mean, it's not shit writing. I mean,
right? No, it's not. It's not lazy or any of that.
Beautiful,
right?
And the story moves. Like there's no dead spots. It just.
And even though it's cliche to have Evie be a wordsmith, like that still added to the complexity of it.
Honestly, it feels like it's missing something. It's like you make your favorite recipe from memory and you taste it and you can't pinpoint what you forgot.
Yeah, well, I just always add more paprika until it's Hungarian, but right. I'm with you. The other line...
More garlic for me.
The other line I really liked is, it's strange because I've seen so many visions that I know to expect all relationships to end, but the ending of our friendship is a heartbreak I didn't see coming.
Yeah.
And that's when her friends get together and she realizes they're going to break up and it's going to break up everything. So yeah, those two lines... I mean, I actually stopped reading and read the problem with broken hearts isn't that they kill you, it's that they don't. I read it to Tom and then I texted you. So like that was definitely, But overall, not my favorite. I think this is probably one of the worst books we've done on the pod.
I agree. And besties, we don't agree on books a lot. So
yeah, we don't. This book gets 3 bells from me.
That was sad. I'm sorry. I hit it harder than I planned.
Did you have anything else you wanted to talk about, or can we talk about what we're doing for the next 2 weeks?
Next 2 weeks. I'm ready if you are.
Ring your bell for me. So for the next 2 weeks, we are doing Harry Potter.
I'm breaking it up into, we're going to do, the first week we're going to do 1 through 4.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next week we're going to do 5 through 6.
5 through 7.
Yeah, that's the words. Yep. Mm-hmm. Numbers. Words are hard.
I'm going to try really hard not to break people's hearts.
I'm sure, like this book, I'm sure there's things about it you liked. Molly Weasley. You love Molly Weasley.
I love Molly Weasley, and I love Luna Lovegood. Molly Weasley is goals, so I do like her.
Hashtag facts.
So we're gonna read Harry Potter for the month of December, that'll be 2 weeks. And then we will read Eliza and Her Monsters, because I can't show you right now because it's propping up my computer. But Eliza and Her Monsters, which is not a really well-known or popular book, but it's one that I love dearly, and I feel like more people need to read this book. And then we're going to end the year with City of Girls. And Molly will host the last pod of the year. And hey, besties, one more thing. I forgot to mention this at the beginning of the show. So last week or the week before, we told you all we were going to have like a questions episode where we're going to let you guys ask us questions, and we were going to spend an episode just like shooting the shit and talking about our podcast and each other. We're not going to do that.
We're going to postpone.
We're going to postpone that question because we've been running this hard for 6 months, and we're a little tired.
Running her shit down.
So we're going to take that week off. So there will be no Book Besties the first week in January, but we will be back.
With our special guest.
We will have a special guest for the first 2 episodes of season 2.
One's ours. One's not ours, technically.
I thought we were going to use both of them. We may need to talk to him about that. So we're doing crossover episodes with Molly's friend Isaac, and we'll tell you all more about that later in December. But we are going to take a week off in January, but follow us on social media. We're on TikTok, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on
always
YouTube.
Updating.
I post, Molly posts, we post updates of what we're reading. We understand that our reading speed is not for everybody.
Facts.
We're reading 2 books at once. We're often doing an audiobook and a physical book at the same time.
Speak for yourself.
I'm doing 2 books at once. So we understand. Just come back. That's all we ask.
Yeah. And I did post a thread for anyone that wants to add to Harry Potter questions. If they have questions or they want to hear our opinions on something when it's Harry Potter related, there is a post. We can pin it to the top of the Facebook page.
Yeah, we could definitely do that. I need to unpin the November reads and pin the December reads up there, but we can definitely
we can pin it up there. We'll pin it up there for a week, and you can add any Harry Potter questions you think we need to answer for you.
Yeah,
if you want to hear our opinions on anything,
or if you're Nurse Katie, just text us because we know you will anyway. She's not following the rules. She's not putting it on Facebook. She's just gonna text us. It's fine, boo. We love you.
Facts. We wouldn't have let you done it if we didn't want it.
All right. So I think that's it for this week. And we stayed under because the book was crap, let's be honest. But
yeah.
But anyway, hey, I love you, and I will see you in a week.
Yeah. Bye.
Right, bye. Thank you for joining us on Book Besties. Don't forget to like and subscribe. The views discussed here are those of Molly and April, not those of anyone else. Today's book was Instructions for Dancing by Nicola Yoon. Your Book Besties are Molly Biggs and April Watkins. Editing by Thomas Watkins. And music is Sleep Sweetly by Brigida. Don't forget to follow the Book Besties on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. If you'd like to contact the Book Besties, please email us at bookbestiespod@gmail.com.